so exciting has happened to me. I got a new toy Australian Shepherd puppy! She is so cute. Her name is Luna and I am in love with her. I would watch the world burn for her. Before I have you meet her, I do want to explain a couple of things, like the process of why I chose a toy Australian Shepherd, the research I had to go into it, and so forth. I don't even remember exactly how I came across the breed. Australian Shepherds are actually an American breed. I don't know why. But yeah, they're actually considered a medium dog. They're roughly around 50, 60 pounds or so. And they're herding animals. They're meant to shepherd, hence Australian Shepherd. That's what they do. Now that being said, I do love the breed. I remember when I first saw it, I liked it. What is this? It's gorgeous. And because I'm a fucking nerd, I had to learn more. So I fell in love with the breed. But that being said, I've never ever owned a larger dog before. I think the largest dog I've ever owned wasn't even mine. It was my family's dog and it was about 20 pounds, maybe? It was a Bichon. It was a big Bichon. And my grandma had a poodle that was about 20 pounds too. To us, that was big. And that's like considered small dog territory still. So I knew it would be a challenge. I knew I could handle it, but I'm just not in the place right now to have a big dog, and I'm in a 1-bedroom apartment. There's just not enough space. And so what I read about Australian Shepherds is because of their nature, they need to run, they need to play, they need a lot of space, a lot of acreage, they need to play outside. Very active dogs, which is great. I love that, but I'm just not in this situation. I don't have a yard. I'm in a 1-bedroom apartment. It just, to me, felt it would be inhumane to get a dog that size right now. It just wouldn't be fair to it. It would be cooped up, it'd get antsy, it would be torture. So then I found out there's actually mini Australian Shepherds or mini Aussies. They are a little smaller. They're like in the 20 to 30 pound range. So they're still larger than what I'm used to, but they're smaller. But that still would be too big. Then I found out they come in toy size, which is basically 15 pounds or less, approximately. And that seems a size I'm more comfortable with. But that being said, even though a dog is smaller, doesn't mean it is less energetic. Don't get me wrong, Australian Shepherds, even the toys, they still have energy, they still need to run, they still need to play. They're still shepherds, just in small compact forms. But knowing that it's smaller, I got opinions of breeders and people who own them. They said, as long as you're an active person, like take them on walks and everything, and knowing the square footage of where I live, they said it should be fine as long as I accommodate her, which is perfect. Actually, since quarantine and the whole pandemic, I've been running every morning, especially since all the gyms have been closed. So I think it would be a good running companion to have a toy Aussie with me. And obviously I can't do that when she's still a puppy. She still needs her second round of vaccines, so I want to not expose her to other dogs yet, just in case. Because I don't know if other people have vaccinated their dogs. You don't know where they've been. And puppies are very sensitive. But when she is getting a little older, I would like to take her on walks with me just to get an outlet for her energy and also for me to be active. It's like a mutual relationship. So I did do that research and keep that in mind. The reason I chose a puppy. I'm not against getting adult dogs and rescue animals. Actually, for me, that's preferred. The problem is, I have 2 ferrets. This is Lyra and this is Lilu. Most dogs have never seen ferrets before. Especially an older dog that's more set in its ways and more experienced. Because there's just not a lot of ferrets running around, most older dogs don't know how to handle ferrets. They don't know if it's a cat, a squirrel, what are you? And a lot of dogs tend to get aggressive, not, in a malicious way, it's just in their nature. They see this weasel-like creature and, oh, I'm supposed to catch that. So it's not a malicious thing, it's just, I had these ferrets first. They're both 3 years old. They've been with me since they were little. And they do come first. They are a priority. I didn't want to run the risk of adopting an adult dog bringing it into this space and already being in love with it. But then it sees the ferrets, and either the ferrets freak out or the dog freaks out, and one of them or both of them get hurt. I did not want that. I want both parties to be safe and secure. This is their home. It should be a sanctuary, not a place of stress and danger. Now my ferrets, they have met dogs. My family in the town next over, they have 3 dogs. They're used to dogs. Their attitude towards dogs is kind of indifference. They're just like, yeah, you're a dog, whatever. And one of my ferrets I actually adopted. She was already a year old. I adopted her from an acquaintance who had to move and couldn't keep her. And the previous owner actually had a German Shepherd. So Lilu, one of my ferrets, she is totally fine with dogs. She's 100% indifferent. She's like, yes, you're a giant fur ball. That's it. That's the best attitude I can describe for them, especially Lilu, towards dogs. Cats, it's the same type thing. Cats, from what I've discovered, hate the ferrets. I've not met a single cat that has gotten along with the ferrets. Even friendly house cats will hiss at them. I know it's possible for cats and ferrets to get along. I've seen plenty of videos. I've known people who've owned both. That's just my own experience though. That's why I don't have a cat, and I'm also allergic. So there were all these different factors playing in my head as to why I shouldn't get a rescue dog probably. And with rescue dogs or adopting an adult dog, you don't know what their home life was like before always. You don't know if they've had bad experiences. And I also want to add, my ferrets have never, ever in their entire lives hurt another person or another animal. I've owned them both for 3 years. They've never scratched anyone or anything. They've never bitten anyone, especially out of malice. So I just want to throw that out there. They are very friendly, and the worst they've ever treated another animal is just indifference. But I know they've had experiences with dogs. They're familiar with dogs, they know what dogs are, and they don't really care too much. So that's the main reason overall I didn't want to adopt an adult dog or a rescue dog, because I didn't know how it would work out. My line of thinking was that a puppy is new in life. It doesn't have much experience yet. It's easier to train them. I thought it would just be overall a smoother process, not just for my ferrets, but also me, for the dog itself. So that was my line of thinking. I knew a puppy would be more work because there is a lot of training involved, which is fine. I've had dogs before, and I'm always reading up on new methods, how to, the best foods, the best treats, how to train a dog, how, to give it that warm, loving environment while also disciplining it, but with love, if that makes sense at all. So I also am working from home right now, and as far as I know, it's gonna be indefinitely working from home. So I know I do have the time to dedicate to training and giving this puppy the attention it needs, and also catering to the needs of my ferrets, making sure they're comfortable with this transition. So that's why I got a puppy. Now, the process of choosing a puppy. I wanted to make sure if I was getting a puppy, it was coming from a certified breeder. That is super important to me, not for the pedigree and all of that. If you're into that, that's fine. I don't really care. What I cared more about was that it was registered, the breeder was certified and knew where they were going and what they were doing and how to do it safely, so the dogs weren't being overbred or it was basically a glorified puppy mill. I'm super against puppy mills. I think they're inhumane, they're horrible. So the best thing for me to do was to do my research and look into finding a good breeder. And I found someone. I had heard of them through someone else. I did my digging. They were certified. They knew what they were doing. They didn't overbreed their dogs. I was comfortable with this, and I even spoke with the breeder through Facebook Messenger, asked her questions, looked at reviews, talked to other people about them. So I did my research. I did my digging. And it just so happened that she had just had a new litter of puppies. And I particularly wanted a girl dog. One, because my ferrets are both girls, so I thought it might be better not to bring in like a male dog and risk a hierarchy change by having a male animal. And also, most of the dogs I've grown up with were female. I'm just used to it. Nothing against boy dogs. If you prefer boy dogs or if you don't care, that's fine. I just personally wanted a little girl. Nothing wrong with that. And so the breeder had just had a whole litter of girls, and I'm like, okay. So one of the dogs I put a deposit on. She was a sweet, she's called a red merle. I think I'm pronouncing that right. So they have like a reddish color fur, and they could have blue eyes, brown eyes, hazel eyes. The puppies were just born that week, so I had no idea what her eye color would be, but I knew she would have the reddish brown fur, which I always thought was a cute look anyway. So I was super excited, and the breeder was awesome. She gave me like weekly videos and photos, kept me up to date on vet visits, and she even had the health certificate ready for me, so I was so excited, which the puppy was finally old enough. I had named her Luna. After two different characters. The first one, Luna from Sailor Moon. I know she's a black cat, but I always wanted a dog named Luna. I don't know why. I think just because I love Sailor Moon so much. And then the other influence or reason I named her Luna was after my favorite Harry Potter character, Luna Lovegood. And I always seemed to, and she seemed like she had a really cute, quirky personality, so I thought it went along well with her. So this, I'm actually filming the day after. So I actually got her yesterday. She has been acclimated. She's still learning how things work around here. And when I went to pick her up, I made sure that the breeder and we met in a public space, and we practiced social distancing, so it was safe. We were just being socially responsible. And I took her home with me, and it was a long drive. She was very scared and exhausted because she also had a long drive to get to the meeting spot. The breeder and I kind of met halfway. So she was exhausted, she was a little scared, she didn't understand what was going on. I think she still doesn't quite know what's going on, which is understandable. The reason I didn't film meeting her though, was because I wanted to fully experience the moment. I wanted to not have to worry about filming it, right lighting, is the mic working, does this camera angle show what's going on? I wanted to fully experience that memory simply because I think it's a special moment, and I didn't just want to have it rudely interrupted with a camera, if that makes sense. I also thought it would be kind of weird, like showing up with the camera. I've never met the breeder in person. We have talked extensively over Facebook Messenger, like a lot, but I never met her. And so I just thought it would be weird and awkward just to show up with a camera, or even to ask her if I could film the experience. I just wanted to be respectful, and also enjoy the moment. So you're not actually gonna see the clip of me meeting Luna. Sorry. You will see a clip of me though in the car after, I had, met the breeder and we were in the car ready to go. So you will see that clip. It was a special moment, and I'm so glad I got to fully experience it without a camera between us. So yeah, here's that clip now. Everybody, meet Luna. Hi, say hello, Luna. She's scared. She doesn't know what's going on. I know, honey. You're so nervous. But she is such a sweetheart. I cried like a baby when I saw her. And then the breeder started crying because she's one of those people where when other people cry, she'll cry. So we were both crying. And her husband was also there, and he was like, ladies, but you are the most beautiful dog I have ever seen in my whole life. You're so beautiful and cute, and I think you know it. Yeah. We're gonna go on a life journey together. So we have a long drive back. She has a carrier, so she'll be safe and buckled in. That's right, because I have precious cargo. So next time you guys see me, we will be back at home. Your new home, I mean. Okay. See ya. Bringing Luna home and introducing her to the ferrets is a big deal. I wanted to make it as smooth as possible while also respecting my ferrets and Luna at the same time. So the method I did, and I've done this before and it's always worked well, and I've even read online, it's a good way to do this, is I had Luna in a little carrier and I let the ferrets roam around and in their own time sniff her, kind of check her out, get used to her presence and scent. So Luna was scared, understandably so. She didn't know where she was or what was happening. She had never seen ferrets before, so she was like, what are you? And the ferrets, they had seen dogs, but just not this dog. So I wanted to establish the hierarchy that the ferrets came first. They're the elders. This is their space and it needs to be respected. So I know Luna didn't like that, but it was a necessary process, and it also was good for her because she got to safely observe the ferrets. So I'll go ahead and show that clip real quick. We're home. Shh, it's okay. Oh, I know, honey. Hi. What is that? That's a big ferret, isn't it, Ghost? It's just a big ferret. They're just sniffing her, checking her out, getting used to her. And she's getting used to them. And it's all safe. They're just getting used to each other and their smells. They've met dogs, but Luna has never met ferrets. And she's very interested in them. It's only day 2. Oh, thank you. She's still a little scared and confused. But I was able to play some fetch with her. She likes tennis balls. She's good at fetch. She's a natural. I'm crate training her because I think that's an important skill. I obviously don't want her to be in the kennel all the time. But I just want her to know that it's, thank you. Good yawn. I just want her to know that it's a safe space to her more than anything else. Like, she has a pee pad in there, she has a little blanket and bed. You know, I want it to be more like her den or a little safe space for her to go to. I don't want it to be like a scary place or a punishment. I know. I've always crate trained my dogs. My family's always crate trained our dogs. And it's ended up being a very good thing. Obviously they're not gonna spend their whole time in there. I just want her to know it's not a scary place. It's almost like her bedroom, her own little space, just to call her own. She slept in the crate last night and she actually was really good. I think it was a nice quiet spot, and I picked a large kennel for her just so she would have space. She did very good. When she was like running around with the ferrets and getting used to the place, I had the cage open and she already was familiar with it and checked it out. So when it was nighttime and she had to go to bed, it wasn't a scary thing. She handled it well. She did whimper a little bit at first, but then she was out. She fell asleep. She had a big day. She was tired. So I think she's adjusting well, but again, it's only day 2. That's right. We got a lot to learn about each other. Yeah. She's already started using the pee pads. So that's good. She's only made one mess outside of the pee pad. So I put another one there just so she knew, like, you're supposed to go on this. When she gets her second round of vaccinations, I'll start leash training her. I already like showed her the leash, so she knows what it is. So that's it for now. I'll probably post some updates further down the line, but I just wanted to share some of this experience and introduce you to Luna.